So today we're going to be talking about Gravidia Novas, my new pride and joy. This deck is honestly hella fun to play. It's a nice change of pace from the normal Victor cards, and you can start like messing around with some new stuff. And it doesn't feel really worse than Victor, it just feels different on how you want to approach the game. So yeah, let's just hop into it. So first starter, V starter, you mainly just want to try to see your pieces as soon as possible. So yeah, just normal V starter, pretty simple. Then for our grade 3, for Gravidia, it's on ride, you search your deck for 2 Meteors and then play them. The Meteors allow you to soul charge and draw for each one you played. And on attack, you counterblast 1, destroy any of your Meteors. And then if you destroyed 1, she gets 15k, 3 a crit, and 5 all your trigger effects double. You mainly play her for the persona ride and the on ride. The second effect will rarely come up. It's mostly if you're like going first and you get aggroed super hard early. But the main reason we play Gravidia is for the Meteors also, which currently I am running 5. You can cut this down to 3 or 4, or you can bump it up to 6 or 7. It really depends how you want your deck to function. I'm doing 5 currently, so then I'll always have enough in my deck whenever I ride Gravidia to be able to search them out. Sometimes if I persona ride, then most of the time I'll have like 1 more Meteor in the deck for me to be able to search out. If you do more, you're more wanting to have your second Gravidia ride be able to get 2 Meteors out in play. And then if you run less, you just want 2 Meteors for your first ride and then no more afterwards. It really depends what you want to do and what you want to make space for. This allows you to get 2 soul and 2 cards in hand as soon as you ride up to 3. And in a very peace and soul reliant deck, that is huge. It makes the deck function so smoothly whenever you ride up. And it allows you to deal with early aggro a little bit better, which Victor has a bit of a struggle to do. The main question I get asked about whenever I mention this deck is about the Excel circle that Victor gives you. And the Excel circle helps on your buster turn, but if you build your deck around the fact that you won't have that circle, you can still pretty easily get to like 7 or 8 drives on your buster. And then on your, whenever you persona ride, it makes your GB8 and your winning champ turn just way more stronger than just having an extra Excel circle, because now your rear guards are actually hitting numbers and being super threatening. Like most of the time you'll have 27k columns because of that persona ride, and then you'll be able to stand your board multiple times, which is pretty big. I don't run any other grade 3s. If I ride anything other than Gravidia, my deck just sucks. I will probably cut the Meteors down to 4 eventually. In this build, we don't have the good Victor cards, so you lose access to Jerohawk and Golsachi. We basically just have to run a good mix of combo standers and stand enablers. Basically things that stand something and things that stand other things whenever they stand, or stand themselves when something else stands. Basically, you get like 2 for 1 on your stand. We're just doing the most high quality grade 2 standers, which is Cool Hank and Kick Kick. Cool Hank is on attack, you ditch one to stand something. Kick Kick, you need to have a full front row for this, which it's a lot easier to manage in this deck since you don't have extra Excel circles. But it's on attack, counterblast one stand something. The first effect of Kick Kick almost never comes up. You have to ride him to get the 5k to something, but you never really want to aggro with this deck. You just want to arm a bunch of hand on your busted turn and then go for game on winning champ or Dryga. Riding Cool Hank is pretty decent if you're needing to see pieces in your hand. So on hit, you soul blast 1, draw 1. You usually can have like 1 extra soul, and if you need to see other pieces, then that does come up sometimes. This is basically core to the deck. I don't think I would change it for anything else. The last grade 2 I'm running can be, it's interchangeable how you want it, but I'm running 4 Brutal Jack. I'll go ahead and pull out Riser Custom. Brutal Jack by himself is 19 during your turn, and he brings another way to give more drives to your Bustard. So if you have a column of Jack and Riser Custom, it's already a 27k attack, but also doing main phase with Brutal Jack, you can rest 2 rear guards and stand him. So it's not rest 2 other rear guards, so he can rest himself. So what you would do is you'd rest him and Riser Custom, and then you stand him, and then Riser Custom will stand with it. So this basically just puts you busted at 5 drive instantly without needing to pay any cost. That's super solid to do. It's also just a big beta early. And then on your Persona Ride turns, this is 29. So with an 8k booster, this is a 37k attack, which is really big. It basically fixes the problem with Victor where you go wide instead of go tall. So now damage triggers are like a little less effective against you because you have the Persona Ride and you can hit really big numbers. And then Jack also just hits super big by himself. So yeah, that's it for grade 2s. Grade 1s, 4 Riser Custom, you saw it earlier. Basically, you'll never use its Vanguard effect because you want to keep the cards in your hand. The Rear Guard effect, when your other Rear Guard in the same column as it stands, you stand him. You want to try to put this behind one of your Rear Guards that you're going to stand. So a lot of the time, your columns are going to look like either a combination of 2 Cool Hanks, 2 Kick Kicks, or 1 of each. And then you'll have Gravidia as busted on your Vanguard. So you want these Riser Customs to go behind your Kick Kick and Cool Hank. Because then whenever you swing, you would swing 17. And then you'd swing 17 and then do Kick Kick to stand Cool Hank. And then Riser Custom stands with it. And then you can do Cool Hank, stand, Kick Kick, and Riser Custom stands with. It just allows you to extend your extra drive checks by a ton to be able to get to where you need to be. Yeah, that's basically it. And then it's the Brutal Jack combo also. After the Buster turn, he becomes kind of dead because your strides will already be standing your board anyway, but he'll just become a vanilla AK. For grade 3 searchers, we have to see Gravidia. We have to see Gravidia to be able to play our game correctly. Having Airshid to help try to search it out is pretty nice. Next, I run 2 Guns Dawn. This is what I was thinking about cutting a Meteor to bump this up to 3 for. On your Buster turn, he's kinda dead because you need whatever slots you have to be able to stand extra stuff. But he helps not let the opponent fuck up your combo turn because he will give your entire board resist. And then he becomes just a massive beater on your GB8 or favorite champ turn. Yeah, so pretty easily you'll be able to give this dude like plus 32. Somewhere in that range, you can get him to plus 30, plus 40, depending on how many are face up. And he will at least be swinging for like 30 every time after your Buster turn. 2 Guns Dawn might bump it up to 3. And then we run 2 DPGs. Our trigger lineup is very important to get down right. And we already draw enough off draw triggers, off Gravidia and Buster, that we don't exactly need more than 2 draw triggers. These are the best grade 1 PGs we can run. And now on the triggers, for Heal Guardian, we're very susceptible to early game rush, because we never dump our hand early. We want to have our pieces for our Buster turn. So we will basically never use our hand. We never try to commit our hand more than we need to, because favorite champ, we need as many cards in our hand to do. We won't have Counterblast issues, but we will sometimes have hand issues depending on the matchup. This just helps you preserve your hand a lot better, and it's searchable off Airshid, which allows you to search out your G guards. Next, over trigger, it's busted, so Bushy, please ban this. It's pretty important in here though. It's a lot better in here than most other decks because you were playing busted, we're drive checking like 10 plus times a turn. You have a high chance of seeing this during your offensive turn. If you do, you kind of just like destroy the opponent's hand or win the game. And then yeah, defensively you just win the game. So OT is insane. Next, 2 draw PGs. This deck has deck out issues sometimes because whenever you ride Gravidia, you get rid of 6 cards from your deck basically, since you will play 2 Meteors from deck and then Soul Charge draw, running more draw triggers can essentially lead you to deck out a lot quicker. So having it at 2 like allows you to basically play around different guard restricts. So if they have a grade 1 or higher guard restrict, then you can PG with this still. And then just having the draw triggers still, you will be able to see your pieces a little bit easier. So yeah, just 2. If you run more, you run into deck out issues, is what I've felt so far. Next, for stride crits. Our only grade 3s are our Heal Guardians and Gravidia, which we want to keep in our hand because of Persona Ride and G-Guarding. So this is usually our main discard target for stride, and we just want to max this out, and just having crits during a Buster turn or a winning champ turn, or not winning champ, favorite champ, just makes this super solid. 3 Kachi Wall. It's basically between this and Energy Girl. The main difference is Energy Girl does not draw you a card, and Kachi Wall does. But Energy Girl has like easier conditions to meet because you just need a boost with it. Kachi Wall has to be stood. It's basically like finding a balance between combo standards or stand enablers. You can run either or. I like Kachi Wall because it replaces itself whenever you do it and you draw a card. And then on a Buster turn, it's basically a 1-card draw 2 is what it is. It's a pot of greed during your Buster turn. Energy Girl with Buster just replaces itself. So it's really just up to you what you want to do. But Kachi Wall just feels better to me personally. And then the last 2 triggers are Perfect Referee. His effect itself is not that good. It basically just turns something into a Sazanda, which can come up on your GB8 or favorite champ turn, since you're standing your rear guard so many times. You mainly play this because it's a free way to put a card back into your deck and not have it replace itself with Busted. And it's a main phase one too, which is super important because a lot of times you will go through your deck super quick. Like very often, after my first stride, I will have at most 15 cards in my deck left. So just having an extra way to put things back into your deck comes up pretty frequently. And then sometimes the extra 5k does come up. Let's say you're doing a GB8 turn and you have a, let's just say Cool Hank. You just have Cool Hank in play. You target it with Perfect Referee and you're on your GB8. Then you will basically swing for 9. And then Drago will stand it, and then it will become 14. And then it will swing and stand, and then it will be 19 for 2 attacks. So this is obviously like the smallest number we can possibly get. On a Jack turn, then it becomes 19, 29, 29. With it, any booster, it becomes better with bigger. With Persona Ride, it becomes bigger. So yeah, it kind of pushes some numbers up pretty decently. But you mainly play it because it's a free way to put something back into your deck during your main phase. So yeah, that's it for the main deck. Now, most of the G zone is pretty flexible because you really just go for the same game plan every time. So running 2 Busted, the second one hardly comes up. You mainly just stride into this first, get like 10 drive checks, and then have a big hand, and then go for one of your other strides afterwards. But sometimes your hand is like not good enough to make sure this thing drive checks a lot. You can pretty easily and consistently get this to drive check at least 5 times. So what you can do is shine the Busted first, pump it up to 5 drives, or as much as you can, swing with it, and you don't restand. So then you just farm a bunch of cards in your hand, and then you can go for Busted again on your next turn and try to actually combo on that turn. But most of the time, it'll be just 1 Busted is what you'll need. You don't exactly need the second one, unless if you have the money for it, then that's good. And then the win cons, we talked about it this entire video. 1 favorite champ, 1 Draga. I'll start with favorite champ. On GB2, you Counterblast 2, you discard 1. At the end of the battle, he attacks. You can stand any number of rear guards up to as many face-up G units as you do have. And then if you stood 3 or more, you can countercharge 1, discard 3, and restand him with drive -2. So this is not once per turn. If your opponent like did not push you hard enough and you just have this fat hand still, favorite champ becomes just like an auto win, basically. Like, you can very consistently get this thing to restand your board 2, maybe 3 times. This thing is super crazy, especially on a Persona ride turn, because then your entire board is swinging multiple times while your front row is plus 10. So your plus 30 total ends up becoming like plus 90 total. Favorite champ is insanely good. Jaiga is also really good. On swing, you counterblast 1, stand your board, and then he gets plus 5k for each unit stood, which most of the time will be like 20k. And then all your rear guards get the effect that whenever they swing, they stand once per turn. Basically, if you have Cool Hank with Jaiga, then you swing with Hank, swing with Jaiga, stand Hank, stack triggers on this thing, and then have Hank swing, and then on that swing, he will stand, and the attack is still going, and then you get to attack one more time. So it basically turns all your rear guards into making them attack 3 times. Most of the time you will favorite champ to win, but if Jaiga gives you a good win con if you don't have enough cards in your hand to like build a good board and be able to do favorite champ. It's just a cheaper way to basically do the same thing. So the rest of the G zone, at least the G units, it's really not super necessary for most of these, because most of the time it will just be busted into one of the finishers. So all these can be tech options. So right now I have as the bulk. I have not stridden into this a single time. So yeah. Winning champ. Winning champ is good if you need spot removal on a Honolly or something. You would shine into this. You won't be able to farm as much hand, but you'll still be able to flip up G units to be able to get to your favorite champ or Jaiga turn quicker. So yeah, I think you do need one of this. 2 Meteor Kaiser Victor. Sometimes you just don't have the counterblast to do anything. Or if you're in a matchup like OTT, you might want to guard early and then make the Momo turn not as strong if they're swinging at you and you're at 0 damage. So then you can potentially damage trigger a lot better. Meteor Kaiser Victor basically gives you a way to play through 0 damage. Or if you have none face up, then he gives you a play. This actually comes up sometimes more than you would think in Victor. In Gravidia, not as much, because you're not really using counterblast all that often. And you see your pieces a lot more than in Victor. 1 Stark, I just got this recently. Haven't used it once in here because our finishers are just better than Stark. Like, by the time we can Stark, it's just better for us to Persona Ride Stride into one of the other people. In Victor, this might come up more, but I haven't played it with Victor just yet, so unsure on that. And then I have 2 Victor Plasma. Honestly, I just don't have Origorm. One of these would be an Origorm, and then this could be really anything. Kind of unsure what I'd make it, but I just don't have an Origorm, which is what would come in here. But this does come up every once in a while against like Link Joker, because you don't have a way to like clear your board whenever you do your Buster turn. So you want to like have Victo be able to give you a play if you don't have a field in some way. Pretty good. 3 Doggin Titan, it's our best G guard. It allows you to play through lock, and it gives you an extra way to countercharge. A lot of the time this will guard for you for 38, which is like really solid. And it's also a decent flip target for Busted if you're in a Link Joker matchup, basically. So then you can flip this up, and then on your next turn, unlock something, and then free up space on your field. Doggin Titan's really good. And then last, 2 Gundreed. Countercharge part, like the actual effect of the card does not super come up in this deck, since we're not really counterblasting that often. You mainly play this because it's a Persona flip. Not a Persona flip, a G-Guard flip. So then if you had like a weak Buster turn, then you can guard with this and flip something, and then you'll still have enough face up so your favorite champ can still push super hard. This is still super necessary. So yeah, that's basically the list. All in all, this deck feels super smooth. The only trouble I really run into is seeing Gravidia in time. And it's hella fun. It's a different take on Novas at this point, which is super nice because we've been playing basically the same Victor list for over a year now. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you feel is right. And yeah, see you all in the next one. Goodbye.